that this is for the first time when a father-son duo are on stage releasing their books on the same day, a historical moment. Yes, I take this opportunity to introduce none other than Dr. Shashi Tharoor's dear son, Kanishk Tharoor. A big round of applause for him. Moving on, we have one more book being launched. It's being launched now. A big round of applause, please. As we had told you earlier, this particular book was launched by the Vice President of India yesterday, and today on Sharjah International Book Fair, we get to see the book launched internationally. So how does it feel? And it's a unique experience. I'm sure in this world, this would be the first one.
Well, it's a fabulous experience. I'm very, very proud of my son, Kanishk. He's written a terrific book which has got magnificent reviews already in India. Is about to come out in America and Britain. But I'm pleased to say that the Malayalam edition has beaten the Americans and the Brits by emerging already today. We're seeing it for the first time. To actually be able to share the moment with him is fantastic, because it so happens that the Malayalam translation of my earlier book, India Shastra, has just come out. That's this in Malayalam, and here it is in English. And this book actually was a year ahead of Kanishk's, but it took a while to get rendered into Malayalam, and so it so happens both books are coming out on the same day here in Sharjah.
And I have to say, at this point, I use it much less than anybody else in our family. But first, let me just say that it's an honor to be here in Sharjah. This is actually my first trip to the UAE. And it's a pleasure in particular to launch the Malayalam edition of my book here, because Sharjah is so full of friends and family, and I'm so pleased that they're here with us to share this day with us. But yes, for my sins, I introduced my father to Twitter, and the rest is history. That if there's an overarching theme, I would say it's about looking at how identities shift in times of great turmoil and change. So that, for example, the title story of the collection, Swimmer Among the Stars, is about a woman who is the last speaker of her dying language. And so in that story, I'm looking at the character of this woman, but I'm also exploring a larger issue that we all face, that we're all facing around the world, which is the way globalization is causing the death of languages. And so there are various other stories like that that are fictitious, as you said, but are also mining contemporary political issues, or issues very much in the real world, for the material of fiction.
My own father actually was on the wrong side of the writing profession, in the sense that he was in the newspaper business, but on the managerial side, not the editorial side, which I think in some ways was a great mismatch, because he was a wonderful writer, just of letters and of after he passed away, the letters we got from so many people, and many talked about how much they enjoyed his letters. He just was somebody with a way of words. He loved words. He used to play word games and so on. And this infected my own childhood very much. I was an asthmatic child, and so when I was holed up in bed, unable to breathe, the truth is that those were the days when there was no television in India, there were no computers obviously anywhere, there was no Nintendo. All I had was books, and so I grew up, and I started, when I exhausted the books I could read, I started writing, and so started writing from the age of 6 or so. My father encouraged me, had the stories typed up. That somehow gave me the sense of faith in myself as a writer. I was first published, a short story of mine, when I was 10 years old.
Sir, I think we are going to a dark age. News coming from different parts of India are really shocking. So, day before yesterday, the one-day ban for NDTV because of something related to the surgical strike over there, and slaughtering human beings in the name of eating beef. and what we can say, growing intolerance, especially against downtrodden and minorities. Actually, my doubt, even if Indians know very well BJP is led by Hindutva, I mean some extreme agenda, and is it because of the fault of Congress, the legacy which was left by Congress from the independence till 2000, BJP was getting a chance or not?
You know, in every democracy, people will want an alternative at some point. You know, I understand that some people felt that there were reasons for frustration with Congress rule. I would only point to the legacy that they inherited in 1947 when the Congress came to power. The British had left behind a country, as I said earlier, that had been completely ruined and reduced to poverty. So when you have a country with 90% below the poverty line, and through your policies you bring it to 26%, you may say 26% is terrible, there's still 26% of people under the poverty line. But if you look at that, it was 90% 70 years ago, perhaps it's not so bad. Similarly, the life expectancy when the British left was just 27 years. Today it's 69. Literacy was 16%. Today it's 82. Female literacy was 8%. Only 8% of Indian women could read and write when the British left. Today it is 66%. And so on. You can see that to say the Congress has done nothing for 60 years is terribly unfair. A lot of Congress governments have accomplished a great deal, and indeed Congress is the party that created some of the infrastructure of this country and the party that liberalized the economic system in 1991 and helped initiate the last 25 years of high growth. Now, the Indian public, as in any democracy, is entitled to want to try an alternative, and as you know, they have tried many alternatives. In the middle of the 90s, we had the United Front governments. In fact, the late 80s, you had the VP Singh experiment. Then you had the United Front governments of Devagowda and Gujral. Then you had the BJP government of Vajpayee. Then again, Congress came back under Manmohan Singh, and now it's Narendra Modi's turn. In some ways, that suggests that the Indian voter is a demanding voter, and if he's not satisfied or she's not satisfied with what the government is doing, he or she will change them again, will throw them out and bring a new lot in. So I don't believe that anybody can be complacent. And I really do believe that these actions that you mentioned of the present ruling dispensation, whether it is interfering in people's kitchens and dining rooms and telling them that they can't eat this or they can eat that, whether it's interfering in people's bedrooms and telling them how they can make love and to whom, whether it's interfering in people's religious practices, whether it's interfering in people's free expression, as you said rightly. It's shocking that a major Hindi language channel, the NDTV India, has been shut down for 24 hours on the 9th in punishment for doing the kind of reporting that 25 other channels also did. There was no other difference, but they're singled out because they have been a very strong liberal critical voice of the government.